truth, where the truth don't lie. 3 T's, no lie. Welcome to the truth, where the truth don't lie. 3 T's, no lie. Welcome to the truth, where the truth don't lie. 3 T's, no lie. Welcome to the truth, where the truth don't lie. 3 T's, no lie. Welcome to the truth, welcome to the truth. 3 T's, no lie. Welcome to the truth, welcome to the truth. 3 welcome to the truth, welcome to the truth.
Welcome to T.D.T Talk, where we tell you
the damn truth.
Welcome to the truth, where the truth don't lie.
Welcome to the Truth, T.D.T family. How are y'all doing tonight? Come on in the room.
Can you hear me, co-host? Can you see me? Is my thing lagging?
I can hear you, but you are frozen right this very second, but I can hear you.
See, this thing getting on my nerves. Our wretch is getting on my nerves. Hello, Vanessa.
Hey, look, y'all, come on in. You know what? I had a couple of people ask me to make sure I sent them the link. And let me do that right now because
Please send the link. Please send it. Look, I'm about to log back out and come back in because I need everybody to see me.
Go ahead. Yes, you frozen all over again.
See? All right.
Welcome to the truth. Welcome to the truth. Welcome to the truth, where the truth don't lie. 3 T's, no lie. What got all my background business in the street? How y'all doing?
There it is. Okay. I'm back. Some destinations won't get comments.
Okay.
See, this is exactly why we don't be on Facebook, y'all. This be why we don't be on Facebook, because it be wanting to interfere with our word and what we got ready to say.
Okay. And I see we live on Facebook too, so we good to go. Let me put the YouTube link in there.
Okay.
I see we live on Facebook too, so we good to go. Oh shit! Look, I almost put our our special guest email in there.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
That'd have been terrible.
I'd have been like, uh-oh.
Okay, look, y'all. Hey, how are y'all doing tonight? Look, me and Carl and I have been at this for how long? How many days, Carl? Are we at
7 days? We're at 7.
a week already?
Yeah, 7 days.
Father God. Y'all
yes,
come on over to YouTube. Come on over here. Go to YouTube link. I put the YouTube link in the chat. And
tell us who's here. We know Vanessa's here. Who else is here watching and viewing? Comment your name. Rep your city. Because tonight we going to be revisiting just a subject matter that we just had. So this is going to be interesting. You know, this is going to be real interesting, y'all.
So let's go ahead and kick it off, right? So, hey, y'all. Look, welcome to T.D.T Talk, where we tell you
the damn holiday truth. That's just what it's going to be for the next 6 days. The damn holiday truth.
Oh, my gosh. Look, Carl and I have been doing this for almost a year. January 5th makes a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to do these T.D.T days of Christmas for y'all. Very ambitious, but we have been enjoying it. So much so that we are going to revisit our show from last night. So y'all know how we love our T.D.T family. So when y'all watch the show and you have some opinions about it or some information that you want to add, we welcome those conversations because that's what makes it fun. It makes it lively. We want to make sure that we bring you guys in. So we do have a special guest with us tonight. His name is Mr. Lamont Tinley. He is one of our Facebook, he's in our Facebook group. He's on YouTube. Like, he's one of our faithful viewers, is what I should say. So we really appreciate him. You ready to bring Lamont on in here?
You know, I'm ready, baby. I'm ready.
Yeah, so y'all, we're going to revisit the Kwanza conversation from last night. Here we go. Hello, Mr.
Welcome, welcome,
How are
welcome,
you?
Mr. Lamont.
I'm
Monty.
doing fine. How's everybody
Did
doing?
my damn thing freeze already?
You on froze, but it's
See,
okay.
can't
Hey,
win. Can't win for losing.
yes.
Okay, there we go. I can hear you now.
Yes.
How's everybody doing?
We
We are
good.
good. We are good. We are ready to get this show on and popping. We're not going to take up too much of everybody's time, but we're going to have a good time because that's just what we know how to do. But
That part.
so Lamont, I'll let you start off. You messaged me today and let me know some of your thoughts about the Kwanza show. Could you share them?
So I heard about the Kwanzaa conversation, and I just want to add some information to it. The founder actually comes from the area where the Eastern Shore of Maryland, where I was born. I didn't know that until the early 2000s, but I've heard of Kwanzaa, of course, growing up, and I heard of Ron Karenga in college. And one of the things I heard about him was he was one of the leaders of this group called the United Slaves. And of course, in California, they had beef with the Black Panthers. And I found out later that Ron Karenga was actually, how can I say it? One of the people that was behind bringing down the Panthers that the FBI actually used to bring down the Black Panthers. So one of the controversies that happened last year when, Kwanzaa, when they made Kwanzaa a big deal, was that should we celebrate the holiday or should we go into celebration, because you have this guy who was instrumental in bringing down, one of the famous Black groups of the 60s, the Black Panthers. And so we get into this conversation whether we should celebrate the holiday and not worry about the person that founded it, because the principles are actually from Swahili, if I'm not mistaken, and he adopted it. So the principles have always been there, but he's the person that brought it to light. So can we separate the two from each other, or can we celebrate the holiday, recognize that this person introduced it to us, but look at him as, he's this, he's a human being. He did what he did. He did wrong, but does that take away from the celebration? Because I think the principles are good. I think that's something that if we all did, as y'all said on the last show, I think we'd be in a better situation.
I agree.
So Ron Kahuahua, so on the last show, if you notice, I did not even say his name. I didn't even look him up. I saw his name on the site that I was on, but I didn't look up his bio or anything like that, or do any research on him, because I don't think he's important. That's just my personal opinion. So you said that he was with the United Slaves?
Yes.
Somebody named a group the
United
United Slaves.
Slaves.
Yes.
Them some ignorant ass people right there to call themselves the United Slaves. But what we know is that God will use anyone to bring his message through. And I believe that that's what happened in the situation. So was there like factual proof, like evidence that him and the FBI or the FBI used him to bring down the Black Panthers?
So I have some information. It's from Wikipedia, but they got sources cited, and I can read this off for you. So just bear with me. And I'll just read the paragraph that's relevant to our conversation. So it says, during the late 1960s, United Slaves organization became bitter rivals with the Black Panther Party over their different views on Black nationalism. The Federal Bureau of Investigation intensified its empathy as part of its COINTELPRO operations, sending forged letters to each group, which purported to be from the other group, so that would each would believe that the other was publicly humiliating them. The rivalry came to a climax during 1969 with a series of armed confrontations and retaliatory shootings that left 4 Panthers dead and more injured on both sides. Now, I'm going to skip down. According to Louis Tackwood, a former informant with the Los Angeles Police Department's criminal conspiracy section and author of the Glass House tapes, Ronald Karenga was knowingly provided financial, arms, and other support by the LAPD, with Tackwood as liaison for U.S. operations against the Black Panthers. Karenga enjoyed a level of trust among figures in government, including LAPD Chief Thomas Redding and California Governor and future President Ronald Reagan.
Mhm.
So that's the part I have.
And I know you said that you felt it was important that our viewers know this. And why did you feel like it was important?
Because I'm a history social studies. So my background, I'm a history teacher. I've been teaching for 15 years, and I think one part of history, and I try to teach the students that let everybody know as much information as you can. And I would just ask the viewers that when I share this information with you, I'm not here to tell you what to think. Look up the information yourself and make your own judgment based on the information that I gave you. Because history is all a part of information, building up more information. You might find something that contradicts what I said, because number one, this guy that reported this information is an informant. You don't know how credible he is. He's an FBI informant. He could easily have said, oh, this guy created Kwanza, which is a unifying celebration, and he could say, let me discredit this guy. Or this could be the truth. So I just invite everybody to do their own research and have their own thoughts about, this information that I share with you.
The conspiracy theory of it all, huh?
That's part.
The mystique. That's the mystique around it. That's what makes it interesting and exciting. For me personally, I believe that that's what also the enemy uses to detract us from what God's intended purpose was. So God's intended purpose was the good part of Kwanzaa. If we look back into history, and you being the history teacher, probably better than most, of many influential men or leaders who did some great things, who had some really sketchy past or lives at the time when they were doing the good. So yeah, and I intentionally did not acknowledge him in the conversation yesterday as to not detract from the good of what the celebration is all about. Carl, what's your thoughts?
I was ready. I was ready for somebody to tag me in. Y'all know I'll be ready for these things. But for me, like Sharon said, we intentionally didn't say anything about him for the fact that since we've started T.D.T, we've always preached reading is fundamental. We love to bring you information that is going to either spark curiosity or make you pick a side, but it's a guided conversation. So the one thing that I like that you mentioned, Sharon, was history has a funny way of repeating itself. We know.
See, the devil trying to come in right now. Is he breaking up? Come on. Okay, you back now. You back.
He's back.
I don't know if it's because I'm about to give y'all a message today or what, but we know history has a funny way of repeating itself. The Roman Empire was brought down, and a lot of times most prolific or significant organizations or any kind of influential factors to any fraction of race has been brought down 9 out of 10 times due to jealousy. And as you brought up for Kwanzaa, we had Huey P. Newton, who was one of the founders of the Black Panthers. And it said that him with another individual that helped form it, there was a third party. I can't remember that dude's name because I was in here researching. I love my research. There was a third individual who was a part of it, and he broke off from the Black Panthers and did the guerrilla family. And from the guerrilla family, they became at odds with each other. Our movement is better. Y'all need to listen to us. No, our movement is better. We're here for the people. And at the end of it, what I thought was very interesting was his dying words was, you can kill me, you can kill my soul, but my movement is going to last forever. And I was like, well, damn, if that ain't the most gangster way to go out, like, you can kill me, yes, I may die, but what I stand for is going to live on. And a lot of us know how the Black Panthers were started, but on the same token, do we all stand on their principle? Because we all know that they believed heavily in Malcolm X, and he was very much, we'll shoot, we'll die, we'll fight for our rights. Martin Luther King was, let's come together and kumbaya. So how do we, I think, and that's kind of what I went on last night with my closing statement. As a culture, we still stand divided because we can't separate.
Look, hold that thought. Because actually, I was going to back you up anyway, because I like to talk about the controversy too, Lamont. So I like how you brought the controversy piece in it. Let's talk about the controversy of Martin Luther King. Was he not a hoe?
He was.
Tell the
He
truth.
was.
But are we not still reciting that I have a dream speech? You know,
we are.
He did stuff. Yeah. He did great stuff for the movement. And Malcolm X, my gosh, he did great stuff for the movement too. But he was a junkie at one point, a stone cold junkie and in jail.
Yep.
You know, all the illegal stuff that he did. But he was still good for the movement. Even in their fault, they were still good for the movement.
Yes. And I think that's kind of where we're at. I think that's kind of where we as a culture struggle, is we don't know how to separate work from the individual presenting it. Because as we all know, we all was raised in church. God will bring the lowest of the low to get his point across. Mary Magdalene was a hooker. John the Baptist, he wasn't wrapped too tight. God used a lot of people to get what he needed to get apart. The same way we can take that to nowadays. R. Kelly. Do you separate the music from the monster? You know, I Believe I Can Fly. I'm pretty sure he may have been going through a lot in that moment, but when he was singing that song, that may have been his testimony. That may have been the point of his life where he was fighting a demon. So I do feel like we as a culture need to learn how to separate the miracle from the individual that's presenting it. Because we could argue that with the COVID-19 shots. We could argue that with Black Wall Street. Like, I know my research, I'm good at what I do, but that's what I feel. We as a culture need to get our heads out of our own asses and look for the good within the message or within the meaning.
I definitely agree. You know, you bring it back to biblical. I was thinking along the same lines as you about the biblical part of it. Like, God has used imperfect people to get his message across. So, you know, if you look at the biblical characters, I mean, we don't look at Noah as a drunk. We look at him as this guy that built the ark. You know, we don't look at Moses as a murderer. We look at this guy that, you know, carried that freed the Israelites from Egypt. So, and I think basically, you know, our culture does have a problem with. We always find little differences that we don't like about somebody, and that kind of detracts. Like your message is, how can I say it? The message has to come from somebody that the message can't come from somebody that they don't respect. It's like, if you can find one thing wrong with a person, they like, I'm not gonna listen to your message because I don't like you because you're this or you're that or you're the other. And I think that's what's held us back. Everybody has something that they bring to the table. Why can't we take what everybody take? How can I say it? Why can't we take what everybody brings to the table and go with that instead of worrying about whether you agree with me or not on something? And some of the things that we disagree with is so small that it's not even worth it, in my opinion. So I think we hold ourselves back.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. We know the saying, the crab's in the barrel, right? If we see one person trying to elevate, then we do things to kind of knock them down. And I think about that in like the Malcolm X thing. I mean, it was the Nation of Islam that set him up, but it was forces outside the Nation of Islam, U.S. government who infiltrated and use their own organization or his own organization against him. And it sounds like that's what happened in this situation with the guy from Kwanza. I have no intentions on committing his name to memory because he's not important to me. I'm not celebrating man. I don't celebrate him. I celebrate whatever it was that God intended for him to bring to us. But it sounds like it was that same thing. You know, the U.S. government doing what the U.S. government does to make sure that Black people don't elevate, but so far. So that same situation, he got caught up in it and his hands got dirty. But the question is, should we celebrate Kwanzaa? So what do you think, Lamont? After all of this, even the controversy, should we celebrate Kwanzaa?
Of course we should. The principles are, the principles that guide Kwanzaa are excellent. And I think you said, instead of, we do it during these 7 days or whatever, 7 days, we should be doing it throughout the year. We shouldn't wait for December to do this or February to, do this. And then all of a sudden it's like we forget everything. Like, this should be something that should be brought out throughout the year. And I think, and I think that's where we miss that sense of community, where we don't have somebody that, or have a community that's together enough to say, these principles are good. Why don't we use this? Why don't we put this into effect? And we do have that happening, but it's like we're not on the same page with it, because I disagree with you because you might have more than I have, or you might have an education, I might not have an education. It's little small things, or my family didn't like your family because of something, something small, and it's crazy, it's crazy. And I could go all day with this because of some of the frustrations that I have, just seeing out there that our culture, our race can do so much better. Look at us. We're not where we want to be at, but despite the challenges we had, we overcome the challenges, and we have done better than some people that don't have the challenges in front of them. That's true. To deal with some of the stuff that we deal with, some of the stuff my kids deal with, to come to school and be able to prosper under the conditions they come from, that's amazing.
I agree. So I think it's a good thing to know all facts. We always try to promote that, to know both sides of the coin. But I also know we as a culture will get caught up on the intricate details and lose sight of the overall meaning. And I think that is definitely what can be said surrounding Kwanzaa. The meaning behind it is amazing. The individual that delivered it was flawed, like us all, and people will focus on that rather than what he may have been doing as a point of retribution for his life. That might have been his pivotal point where he wanted, that key moment, like, I've messed up in life, but I'm leaving a legacy that's worth something to future generations to come. So, yeah, that's my only thing on it, Sharon. What you got to wrap it up with?
Well, I'm a little bit messy, so I have to ask the question. So, is the controversy worth entertaining?
I don't think so. Because Malcolm X, an addict, but he led a nation. Martin Luther King was humping his way down to Alabama, but his message was amazing. Barack smoked weed. Oprah Winfrey. Well, hell, I don't know what I don't know what she do. Is she with Gail or the other guy? I don't. She's flawed in her own ways too. Hell, I don't know what
woman. Yeah, that's her.
Yeah. Stedman. I said Gail. Whoops, wrong person.
And I just think that we should throw the information out there, but I don't think it should I don't think it should take the place. I don't think it should affect Kwanzaa at all. Throw the information out there and just know the person that created it did this, but at the same time, it shouldn't take away from what the principles that Kwanzaa has, because I mean, it comes from Swahili and all that unity and all that stuff. That's what we need. That's what we really need to be practicing. And I don't think that he should detract away from what Kwanzaa is about.
All right. So I would like to give my thoughts on that because I'm reading this book called The Energy Bus. So this book has me thinking in positivity. And if it's not something that's positive, if your thoughts are somewhere that are not positive, then that energy is going to weigh you down. It's going to affect you in a negative way. So whatever you're trying to bring that's positive, it's going to turn out negative. Law of attraction. If you read the book or know about it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For that reason, I strongly believe that we have to speak. There's life and death in the tongue, right? We got to speak what we want. We have to speak about the positive aspect of it. If there's a little minute part that could totally make people close their ears to the message, I'm going to leave that part out.
I agree.
Because that fact has no bearing on the actual celebration. One has nothing. I mean, they're related because he was the person that created it. But at the same time, does his messy ass life or his messy ending, should that take away from all the positivity?
It shouldn't. Oh, go ahead, Lamont.
So let me ask you a question. All right, you celebrate Kwanzaa, right?
I don't.
Your children at that age where they do research, and you know, kids do this. They'll ask you questions that they research something. They'll ask you questions, and they'll ask you about, you know, well, who's this guy Ron Karenga that created Kwanzaa? What if they asked you about that? What would you say to them?
I would say reading is fundamental. Did you read, and what did you learn?
Mm-hmm.
How does that change? What does that change for you? So when you have kids, you got to raise your kids the right way. You have to raise your children in a way. I raise my kids in a way to not just read on the surface. You got to go deeper, and you got to find meaning and purpose. If you don't find meaning and purpose in something that you're reading, then you didn't read it good enough.
I agree. And I just want to add to that oftentimes we as parents want to tell our children what to do, how to think, how to be. But let's be honest, does the history books tell us that Martin Luther King was a hoe? Does the history books tell us that MLK, or not Martin Luther King, but Malcolm X was an addict? It may touch on it briefly, but it didn't dive into his severe substance abuse. And I feel like if we focus or even highlight some of those negative things, that's going to sway someone's opinion when that individual work in itself was something beautiful. They just had a checkered past. And even Dr. Mama Saba Makusa, whoever he may be, he may have been going through some stuff. But I mean, come on, Cleopatra, Anthony, hell, Queen Elizabeth has been the queen for 700 years and her ass still won't die. She has caught COVID and everything, and she's still living. But we don't know her checkered past, but some of her kin folks used to bathe in the blood of African-American women, and their family lineage is still on that damn throne.
Yeah.
I didn't see nobody overpower her ass. But, you know, who am I but a humble servant of the Lord? That's all I got to say to it.
All right, Lamont, any closing thoughts?
No, just invite everybody to, anytime you hear information that's been brought up or anything, do your own research. We're here to have a conversation, you know, listen to all sides, but it's up to you to make your decision. Critical thinking is very important. Not just look at one. Like, I looked at Wikipedia because I needed it for the show, but you know, look at different sources and compare the sources, and the answer will be somewhere in the middle. And I'd like to thank you all for inviting me onto the show. And
you are very welcome, Lamont. And you know, I keep it all the way funky because we don't let people come on T.D.T and tell us how to run our damn show. But
hell to the no.
We appreciate the feedback from you. And
that we do.
We appreciate the conversation. We
Most
appreciate the knowledge and the research that you put into this. And we appreciate you mostly for being one of our Black male teachers. So please continue
yes,
to do what you are doing for our kids in our
yes.
community. And we will catch you on the live.
All right.
Have a
Thank
good one,
you.
Lamont.
You
Good
do the
night.
same. Same to you all.
Thank you. All right. So the
All
next
right.
one. Now look, Sharon, because we ain't gonna be on here too long, y'all. I'm tired. It's day
I gotta
7.
go. I gotta go.
So we were supposed to touch briefly on how old is too old to tell your children that a white man is not doing a B&E into y'all's house every
Coming
365th day.
down the chimney that you ain't even got. Okay.
Because if my son asks me, I'm gonna be like, Santa got a debit card. He swiped the door and walked in at this point because we ain't got no fireplace. So
This is my theory. This is my theory because someone asked me a couple of days ago. No, yesterday. Excuse me. Y'all, I'm drinking a ginger ale. I'm sorry. Tonight's show is brought to you by Canada Dry. They need to pay me for this promo. But they asked me, so my kids are 13. They asked me, what is Santa bringing you for Christmas? I said, what? I said, who is what? Santa, what? And they repeated it. What is Santa bringing you for Christmas? And my kids were sitting there looking at each other, confused, right? I said, look, they 13. I'm Santa, okay? I'm Santa. Santa don't get no props for my hard-earned coins that go into those gifts that they are receiving, okay?
That part.
Is no Santa, okay, that's gonna get all the credit for all of the hours that I work, okay, all that I put up with, okay, all the sacrifice that I make, okay.
That part.
No holly jolly, nothing is going to. But I allow my children to believe in the fantasy of it all, right? Because you don't want to just steal a child. Children should be allowed, in my opinion, children should be allowed to have this innocence, that is some kind of innocence, they call it, where
That
they
childlike
believe in fairy
innocence.
tale. There we go, childlike innocence. While they're kids. So I believe I told my kids about Santa, 5th grade maybe? Because they was getting too old for it. I think 5th grade, 6th grade. No. Last year in elementary, 5th grade. I told my children about Christmas. I told my children about Saint Nick. We're going to get to that in a whole nother show. But I told my children about the facts of December 25th and all the characters that are a part of that day. So what I did, I imparted knowledge into my children, knowledge and wisdom, so that they would be able to use their logic and say, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I love it. So
my
now
answer,
look, Sharon,
you need to tell your kids.
So for me, I'm going to just piggyback off of Sharon. I definitely feel like kids deserve
Kids deserve what?
to have that childlike
You were breaking
innocence.
up. Children should be able to have the childlike innocence. Okay.
Yes, and I feel like we are so quick to rush our children to be grown and to be at a certain developmental stage that we kind of just rob them of that childlike innocence. You don't want to tell them that they have there's no tooth fairy, Santa ain't real, the Easter bunny. I never understood that because when I think of chocolate covered eggs, I felt like the rabbit was taking a deuce and I just wasn't eating that. So I never bought into the Easter bunny. That didn't make anatomical sense to me by no means. But I really do. I feel like we need to let kids be kids. And I think when they hit double digits, in my opinion, my wife feels that no white man is going to get credit for the hard work that she has done to provide for Christmas. You know, she feels like he should know the truth and that, like I said, a white man ain't doing a B&E in our home when we're asleep, you know? So for me, I'm kind of torn because I don't want to take away my child's innocence, but somebody else ain't gonna get credit for me getting yelled at by clients, no shows. Oh, there's a lot of variables that he ain't getting credit for. So I just think double digits.
Yeah.
At that point, you need to tell your kids the truth.
Yeah, my kids were 10 in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
So I agree. So 10, it's time for them to grow up and learn something. But, you know, make it a lesson. Teach them something. Tell them the reason why, you know, other than he ain't going to get credit for my hard work. I felt like that wasn't enough to make it fly with my kids, like, because there's deeper reasons and meanings for me. You know, I don't want you. It was okay when you was younger, and I hope you enjoyed all 9 years of it. Okay, 9, 10, because you are 10 now. Hope you enjoyed all 10 years of it. But let me hit you with the headlines and give you the truth, okay? Because we do not teach our children the truth about this American history, then they become lost. So there's a whole Black history lesson that can be taught through Christmas.
And I love that you said that. That was such a beautiful segue because, baby, we got a show coming up. Will the real Kris Kringle please stand up?
When is that one? Let's see when that one is. Tomorrow. Real Nick, please stand up. It's tomorrow. So we'll get to talk about this.
So tomorrow, you guys, we are going to give you, because as we've learned, as you guys have grown with us here on T.D.T, there's always a Black history behind anything we talk about. And much like Black History Month, Christmas has a little taste of seasoning. And if y'all tune in tomorrow night at 9:30, we will be giving you the seasoned version, not the mac and cheese with the raisins. This will be the seasoned, that, you know, that good mac and cheese, stick to the pan mac and cheese version of Christmas.
The extra cracked pepper in the mac and cheese. Yes.
Sprinkle on it. Just sprinkle it. We're going to be right there for you.
All right. Look, Carl, I'm ready for tomorrow night. Are you?
I'm ready. I'm ready to get y'all ass hit with this good story time.
All right. Look, y'all, moral of the story for tonight is stop lying to your kids. All right. Okay. Oh, also from the first half, reading is fundamental. Hell, read for your damn selves.
That part.
That's all I got.
That's all I got. We'll catch y'all tomorrow.
Peace out.
Hey.
Welcome to the truth. Welcome to the truth, where the truth don't lie. 3 T's, no lie.
Thank you. Tune in next week. Same Black channel, same Black host, and we'll holler at you at the same Black time. Bye.
Bye.
Right.
Teach, no lie.